Shalom Israel. Before I get started, let me give all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Bakar Kodash, the one to the apostles and elders, the great millstone. Peace and blessing to the brothers that are preaching the truth in the four winds of the earth. May Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua have mercy upon you. Alright, I think I might title this video "The Spirit of Vengeance is upon America," right? And it's in the process of being what? Being sedition and men of what? Of Esau. Esau, even so-called white man, what, fighting against one another. It's starting with this a border crisis. When the Israelites, what they're doing, they're trying to gather to Babylon, which is America, which is to be either saved or judged, because these people that they call illegal immigrants, these are the people of the Lord, and the people of the Lord is drawing near to the destruction, either for their destruction or for their salvation. But no one knows who's gathering to what? To be saved or to be destroyed. So let's just get into the lesson. I'm gonna start with the video concerning the border, and to the best of my ability, I'm gonna give you a little more understanding of what's taking place in the earth that is relating to the prophecy of the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So here we go.
Democrats now calling on the president, Joe Biden, to federalize the state National Guard.
But Governor Greg Abbott is not backing down, saying Texas has the right to defend itself against the migrant invasion.
And they're using the Constitution as a weapon. Lucas Tomlinson is live in Washington with the details. All right, Lucas, unwind this.
All right, well, good morning, my friends. The Texas border standoff continues. Both Governor Greg Abbott and the White House are refusing to back down. Now GOP reinforcements are pouring in. Abbott receiving the support of many of his fellow Republican governors, such as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, also the governors from Oklahoma, Montana, Georgia, and Utah.
All right, so you split. These are governors. These are the ones GOP governors that backing Abbott, the governor down there in Texas, right? Now this was 4 hours ago, right? I'll probably post it immediately after I get through, so it'll probably be 5 hours ago. So, but these are politicians and governors that are going against one another concerning the immigrants pouring into the land of America, which is Babylon.
Now, some on the left want President Biden to do more. Texas Congressman Joaquin Castro says Biden needs to take control of the Texas National Guard right now. Other Democrats rushing to his defense are Congressman Greg Casar and former Congressman and former gubernatorial candidate in Texas, Beto O'Rourke, and invoking the father of the Constitution, James Madison, as Steve said off the top, and Alexander Hamilton. By the way, it's outrageous there's not a statue of him in St. Croix, but I digress. Texas Governor Greg Abbott responding with a scathing statement accusing Biden being a...
Look at these people, man. These people are stuck between the razor wires. I know he got to be cut, and once them razor wires hit you, man, you either gonna bleed out, or bleed out from it cutting you, because they're razor wires. These are Israelites, man. For the most part, these are Israelites pouring into Babylon, man. Again, to be what? Either judged or saved.
Lawless president, saying, quote, the executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting states, including immigration laws on the books right now. President Biden has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. The result is that he has smashed records for illegal immigration. And this comes, of course, as the border bill in the Senate is in danger of falling apart, which allows thousands of migrants into the country each day. It has drawn the hot ire of many House members, including some Republican senators as well, guys.
Hey, Lucas, is this the first time in
modern American history where the United States government, which is in charge of keeping us safe, is being accused by a state for allowing people to come in with little to no vetting and things like that. Essentially, Texas is saying there's an invasion. And so ultimately it becomes...
You know, these devils something else, man. These white devils are something else, man. What they think they did when they took over the country, man? They invaded it. That's what they done. They invaded it. And who knows invading a country more better than the so-called white man Esau Edom. Damn hypocrites.
A question for the courts of what constitutes safe, because the people of Texas say we're not safe.
And Steve, I think that's one of the reasons why President Biden only has an 18% approval rating with his handle of the southern border, according to a recent ABC News poll. Many in America want to see that southern border fortified.
Right.
Thanks, Lucas.
Thanks.
No kidding.
Well, if you look at the Harvard-Harris polls, it says this is the new issue that has overtaken inflation. And we have different ideas of how to fix it. Republicans say that it's like 85% of them say that it's got 81% say the conditions are getting worse on the border, but only 45% of Democrats agree with that. Even John Fetterman, the progressive senator out of Pennsylvania, he's a Democrat, he's calling this a crisis. And he said the Senate and Congress have to deliver on this border security situation. I don't understand why this is controversial. He said he made the best point. He said, look at the numbers. In December, we had 300,000 encounters. He said that's larger than the city of Pittsburgh. And he said, and that is just 1 month.
That's right. So
300,000 in just 1 month. So let's get a precept in here, man. Let's go to Second Esdras 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Woe, meaning destruction. And this starts with who? With America. With it being judged by the Heavenly Father. Right? Because the desolation of this place will going to be so detriment to the land. 5,000 square miles is going to be engulfed in flames. This place will no longer be inhabited. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draw near. Their destruction draw near. Then what? Then the other countries. It's not just going to be immigrants. It's going to be other countries that's going to do what? That's going to bend their bows, which is going to be their nuclear missiles that are going to do what? Going to destroy this place, man. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Well, the Lord is slowly taking away what? That authority that he had once given Esau, even the so-called white man, starting with America. Up to date. For the sword and their destruction draw near, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hand. This is what's going on. These governors, this is what they're doing. They're going against one another. And in the process of them going against one another, eventually, there's going to be some what? There's going to be some fighting. And Esau, even the so-called white man, does not fight with his hands. He fight with guns, his weapons, which is that sword that was given to, which is a portion of his, which is his blessing. Right? And they're not going to just use they're going to start off using weapons. Right, which is their sword, which is the modern day sword today is the gun. But in the process of Biden and the government trying to take over Texas, you know, Texas is not called the Lone Star State for nothing. These people have always somewhat fought for single independence and not allow government to take over the state of Texas in the same manner that they have taken over the other states. This is why they call it a Lone Star. For the sword in their destruction. Verse 15. For the sword in their destruction draw near, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition meaning rebelling against one another, against the higher authorities concerning what's right and what's wrong, and stand what? For there shall be sedition among men in invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, meaning the president. They are not regarding President Biden's concerning Biden saying let the so-called illegal immigrants into the borders of Texas. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Let's hear a little more.
So, Brian, it looks like that this is going back to the courts again. This is what Texas is saying. According to Article 5, Section 4, the federal government has a duty to protect each state from any type of invasion. And if you look at our border and our live shots every single day at the border, it's very clear that Texas is being invaded by several countries. He's saying that, this is the governor who used to be the Attorney General of Texas. He's saying because you have failed to do Article 5, Section 4, we're going to use Article 1, Section 10, Section Clause 3 to enforce that. So essentially it's saying that if the federal government refuses to protect any state, we have the right through whatever National Guard or Texas Department of Public Safety to defend ourselves.
Right, listen to this. So the governor of Oklahoma stands with him, the governor of Montana, the governor of Georgia, the governor of Florida. They're all saying, we're with you, Texas, we get it, we're 100% with you. Now, if you want to get some momentum for any type of legitimate border protection that's been worked on now by Senator Lankford, Senator Murphy heading it up, and you say, and the president comes out and says, it is a crisis, we've got to fix it. If you really want to know if they're sincere, why would anyone think the president's sincere about it when he's doing everything he can to cut the razor wire that Texas is forced to do themselves and sending in the federal government to do it? Why would anyone...
Biden sending the federal government in to cut the razor wire so the people can come through the border of Texas, man. I love it, man. You know, this is prophecy taking place at its finest, man. This is Isaiah 19:2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, right? These are the Egyptians against Egyptians, the Democrats and the Republicans, right? And they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So in the process of neighbors against neighbors, where brother against brother, then neighbors against neighbors, then kingdoms against kingdoms, those kingdoms are going to be what? Of the other nations that's going to take part in the what? In the death and destruction of America. The Lord, man, it's playing out, man. The scripture is literally coming off of the pages. Let's get a little more.
Feel good about it when he is backing up all those cities that have sanctuary status. Now, if you look at the inverse of what we're doing at the border, for what Texas doing at the border, think about these cities are trumping the Constitution in these sanctuary city status. You're saying, I don't care what the federal government says, we are forbidding ICE from kicking out people who we know are here illegally from even asking them. That's also unconstitutional, but the president stakes his power and sends the courts in our legal system after states that just want to hold on to their sovereignty and protect their people.
Listen, I saw something in the New York Post yesterday. We were up in New England, so we missed it, but I picked it up today. You know, the migrants are winding up in this country with preloaded debit cards and envelopes of cash, right? Do you know where that money's coming from? It's coming from the United States of America. Let me explain how.
See there? Within the what? The government and within the borders, because what they're doing, they got to do the will of the Lord. You know, right? But the whole world does not understand this here concerning the destruction. How do you destroy a thriving place and tear it down for the next agenda, which is going to be what? Which is going to be the new rulers of the earth was going to be what? The next rulers of the earth are going to be the Israelites. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives of this land. Esau, Edom, time is up. So let's go to 2nd Esdras 15 and 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, because in the days to come, World War III, judgment of the earth, martial law, Jacob trouble. And how did you start these things? By what? By well, for one, overpopulating a state with a bunch of illegal immigrants that when they'll get hungry, what they're gonna do? They're not just gonna starve. They're gonna be what? They're gonna be invading homes and invading people's property, and take life. Because and one thing about these people in America, they got guns. So they're gonna be shooting. So any man that's what trying to feed his family is gonna be in what? In a attack mode and protecting himself and his family. And that goes in both ways concerning these so-called illegal immigrants and the American citizen. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, there'll be no pity, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. They're not going to respect one another anymore, honor all that old legislation. They're not going to fear the what? The government officials. They're going to be what? They're going to be fighting for what? For literally for their lives and protecting their home. Let's get a little more.
All of us, America's taxpayers, are paying for those people to come across that razor wire. The New York Post has this story. It talks about how the United Nations has got this interagency platform for refugees and migrants from Venezuela. And they've got $1.6 billion to help people reach the U.S.-Mexican border. And so that razor wire slows them down. And so they don't like that. And so the United Nations, they've given all these people money to make it to the southern border. That's slowing them down. So what's Joe Biden doing? He's making it easier for them to come in. And here, Ainsley, is the important part. With the United Nations, and we've talked about this for decades, who's the biggest funder of the United Nations? The United States. Absolutely. We pay 22% of the UN budget. So keep in mind, we are financing a lot of those people. We're financing more than any other country on the globe, those people to come into this country illegally. So we're going to play the soundbite in a moment of Kamala Harris talking about how the Republicans have made this a political thing to run on. Look what Joe Biden is doing. He's taking our taxpayer money, putting it in their pockets and saying, come on to the United States.
Republicans want the problem fixed. Finally, Democrats.
See, Democrats and Republicans. Egypt against Egypt. Egyptians against Egyptians. I mean, these are the what? See, the law, the curses of Deuteronomy 28 is the curses that the Heavenly Father put on the Israelites, right? So now the curses is slowly turning on who? Our enemies. And our enemies are going to be what? They're going to fall because they're going to what? They're going to fight against one another. This is Matthew 12 and 25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, meaning destruction. And every city or house divided against itself shall now stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? How shall he stand? It's not. Let's get it.
It's getting on board. And the reason is, Tom Homan said, it's because Fox News has been pushing this. So conservatives know about this issue. We're seeing it in our cities. You're seeing it in Texas. We're seeing it all over the South. But now Democrats are seeing it because now other channels have to cover it because it's coming to states like New York. And it's coming to big cities like Chicago. And all these governors are saying, we don't have the money. In fact, our mayor here in New York City is now saying, federal government, give me help. I need help now. So now it's an issue that
Are you overpaying for auto insurance?
1 second, this real. Let's.
Well, I have exciting news. You could say
Okay.
That everyone in our country, Democrats and Republicans, are noticing and seeing. And Kamala Harris is saying that Republicans are just using this so they can win elections. No, Republicans have been screaming, saying, help us. Our country is being invaded by not only illegal immigrants, and you have to foot the bill, but also by criminals that are bringing in drugs, by terrorists. And Tom Homan said there are terrorists in our country. Listen to what our vice president is trying to say.
They call the immigrants terrorists. Who's the biggest terrorist on the in the American borders? You're looking at him right here, huh? The so-called white man. He's the biggest terrorist in America, on America's soil. The one that actually running it, right? We gotta get this new world order in play, man. And this mark of the beast, man, which is Revelation 13, man. Revelation 13 to 16 through 17, man. You get this to going, man. So you get the popping off, man. So they trying to, when they go to trying to force that NWO. What's go hand in hand with the NWO, man? Revelation 13, man. Verses 16 to 17. So in the process of them doing that, what's going to take place, man? This is the judgment of the Lord, man, coming upon Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, which is America.
Some people seem fixated on Joe Biden's age. But I wanted to ask you...
It's because they have nothing to run on. Katie,
well, immigration now they're running on too.
Which they could actually participate in fixing.
Right.
And but, so, no, but really,
yeah,
you know, so yeah, you're right. They're running on immigration because they like having the problem so they can have an issue. We hope and are really trying to compel, in particular, some of the Republicans in Congress to participate in the solution. But sadly, you know, we want to fix it. They want to run on it. They want a political issue to run on in November.
Yeah, so no interest in trying to fix it. She only went there once for an hour, went to the border and left. One of the biggest embarrassments when you realize how useless she was when she basically punted when asked to take control of the border. Like Vice President Biden was asked by Barack Obama, to his credit, whatever the policy they had, he actually did something. And for Katie Couric not to ask, don't you feel responsible?
See, these devil, boy, they're against one another, boy. Totally. They're totally against one another. This is Isaiah 19 and 14. The Lord Yahweh has mingled a perverse spirit, right? In this portion of perverse spirits, meaning putting them against one another, right? In the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof. So they're all fighting against one another and going up against one another. And they're so concerned against one another within their own borders that they're what? They're err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. So the ways of the so-called white man, his cruel behavior is about to what? It's about to come back upon his own head.
For the worst disaster in American history, the southern border is crazy. I'm not sure if she's still with the Today Show, but the other thing with Kamala Harris is almost everything that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden can do right now could affect the border and help their political fortunes. Just reverse the amnesty problem, reverse the parole, do the remain in Mexico. You don't need Congress for that at all. You don't need any more money for that at all. You could get additional money to adjudicate quickly for people, but if you change the questions that they're asked at the border, you can no longer come in here and say, I'm being threatened in my country, then that's enough to stay. Now you say it doesn't matter. Go to another section of your country. If you don't have proof you're being pursued, you can't stay. That would do something.
I'm just baffled by the headline, the Republicans have nothing to run on. I mean, immigration is just number one on top of the list. You got inflation, you got national security, you got what happened in Afghanistan. I mean, we can just keep going over and over. And the fact that you have a reporter right there that is supposed to be representing the American people and our interests on a day-to-day basis, not push back and say, what about these issues? I think is stunning.
Well, you know what? When the Joe Biden team came...
This is going to kick it all off. And when they get through fighting against one another, and taking one another out, they're going to turn on you, Israel. Right? They're going to turn on you. And in the process of them turning on you, what's going to take place? You 2/3 is going to be the most one that is going to be affected with this Jacob trouble is in the process of ramping up the spirits to what? For judgment. And the Heavenly Father, this is let's go to Isaiah 13:13. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see. Right? Not ancient Babylon, which is Iraq. This is Babylon of the day. It's the daughter of Babylon, which is America. Lift up a banner, meaning the Bible, upon the high mountain. That high mountain is America. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake their hand. Shake their hand and what? And warn the people. And give the 1/3 of the children of Israel during this time in America to what? Warn them and tell them what's about to take place. And for them to what? To prepare themselves for the hell that about to what? They'll come upon America. Lift up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles, your elected officials. And this is what you see. This is the process of what? Of elimination for what? For the what I'm looking for the separation, and in the process of the separation, there are going to be wars within the states, between state against state, and in the process of them warring against one another, what's going to take place? That's the destruction of themselves. It's not going to it's going to come upon them so fast until they're not going to see it, because in the process of them doing that, what's going to take place over in the Middle East, so-called Middle East? That's when the wars and rumors of wars are going to take place, and then it's all going to work out strategically with the right hand of the Lord for what? For judgment to come upon Babylon. Verse 3, Isaiah 13:3. I have commanded my sanctified, meaning his prophets, sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty one for my anger. His mighty one is the angels. So when everything gets stirred up, and the spirits, the Lord ramp up all the spirits and have the spirits go against one another. And what's going to happen? His angels, I have also called my mighty one for my anger. Now the angels on the four corners of the earth holding back the winds, meaning the destruction of America. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my what? In my highness. The noise of a multitude, meaning the armies. The armies of Armageddon, which is Yahweh. Multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. A tumultuous noise, meaning nuclear missiles of the kingdom of nations gathered together. The Lord Yahweh of hosts must be the host of the battle. They get a little more.
Came up with their game plan for the 2024 race. Immigration, migration, and these images from Fox, and now they're on every channel in every big city because the sanctuary cities, they weren't counting on that. They were going to run on it. You know, we're being inclusive, and now it's like the people of the states are going, please turn it off. We were all at the Boston airport yesterday. Did you realize that Boston's got such a migrant problem that just like Chicago now, they're keeping the migrants at the airport simply because, and we all know it's freezing out there.
We're going to be interviewing
It's warm.
about that later.
Right?
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm
All right, let's search down here a little bit. There's one more I want to get. Right, CNN getting nervous. No, not what I want. What is it? I think this is an epic show. Here we go. And the name of this is Greg Abbott Doubles Down. Says federal government failing to protect Texas from border invasion rising.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott seemingly has no intention of complying with an emergency injunction by the Supreme Court telling the federal government that they may remove razor wire at the border between Mexico and Texas, and that Texas must allow federal Border Patrol agents in. Here's video of Texas state and national troopers installing more razor wire at the Eagle Pass crossing point. Abbott claimed he had to act on matters of border security as he felt the Biden administration and the federal government had failed to do so. In a statement released by Abbott's office, the governor said, quote, "The federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states. The executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting states, including immigration laws on the books right now. President Biden has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. The result is that he has smashed records for illegal immigration." Abbott added that the founding fathers had predicted the possibility of a president who, quote, "does nothing to stop external threats like cartels smuggling millions of illegal immigrants across the border, and said states had a right to protect themselves from external threats."
You really think these devils is that lenient against these so-called illegal immigrants? It's a whole lot that they're not showing, and that they will not show, right? You know, but the hammer of the earth, man, America, is what is at hand. Jeremiah 50 and 22. A sound of battle is in the land, and a great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? We're looking at it. Destroyed within, and in the process of destroying it within, and have them go and war against one another. Just take a mental note, Israel. In the process of them, once they turn them guns from off one another, they're going to turn them on you. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon. Thou wast not aware that thou art found, and also caught, because thou hast what? Striven against the Lord. The Lord Yahweh has opened his armory, and has brought forth the weapons of his indignation. That's going to be ICBM missiles. So in the process of when these border wars and all these things take place, there's going to be a bigger urgency of defending oneself, but they're going to be cut off guard, because all of the other nations are going to gather themselves together according to what's that, Ezekiel 38. Ezekiel 38, which is Ezekiel 38 and verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, into the jaws of who? The other nations. For what? To do his will. And I will bring thee forth in all thy armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. So these are their military vehicles and the things that they're going to use to what? But mainly the ICBM missiles. They don't have to actually come to the shores of America to destroy it, because the nuclear missiles are going to do all the different destruction that's going to be needed to what? To destroy Babylon. Weapon of indignation, for this is the work of the Lord God Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldean, which is America. Come against her from the uttermost borders, open her storehouses, cast her up as heat, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Let's get a little more of this.
So here we are. Obviously, the Supreme Court will hear this case, so it'll go beyond the emergency injunction, but I mean, he can say everything he's saying here, but he does actually have to follow what the Supreme Court says. States can't just ignore that. You can be frustrated about it. You can want a change in the administration, but it's pretty well established that the federal government has control over this. I absolutely understand the frustration of state officers, border officials, people who live on the border, but it's frustrating that the federal government has not fixed this problem, but it is the federal government's to fix.
Yeah, so a couple of things on that. One, it's important to remember that the posture of this case is not that no one's defending the border. The posture is that the federal government is the one with the responsibility to defend the border, and their argument, the administration's argument, has been having this razor wire up is actually impeding federal border enforcement officers' ability to do their job.
He gonna always be with the serpent, boy. He gonna always be with the serpent. This is Jeremiah, verse 26. Come against her from the uttermost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heat, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. When the bombing stopped, when all the end of all this so-called immigrants going in there, they're gonna have bigger problems, right? Which is gonna be ICBM missiles. Slay all her bullocks, let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation of the earth. The voice of them that flee and escape out of Babylon, the land of Babylon, right? But this America, the land of Babylon, America, the daughter of Babylon, there won't be no escaping out of the land of Babylon. The only ones that are going to escape out of America is going to be what? The 1/3 of the children of Israel. They're going to be taken up into the chariots of the Most High, to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh our God, the vengeance of his temple, the vengeance of our God. Because the true God of the God of Israel is the God of the children of Israel, which is Jacob's children, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives of this land. Call together the archers, meaning the nuclear missiles, against Babylon, America. All ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about. So this is the invasion, and in the process of the invasion, this is going to be the what? The last that we would know of what we call America. Let's get a little more.
Moreover, there has been obstruction because Republicans are not agreeing to a border funding bill that would create more funding for those border officers which are being thwarted in doing their jobs, and also ostensibly more funding for administrative law judges and the like who can process these asylum claims and immigration claims, decide which are meritorious, and speed up the process for legal immigration as well. What we're looking at is the consequences of backlogs that are not going to be magically resolved by more razor wire, because people, I gotta tell you, are fleeing situations a lot more dire than razor wire. And the last thing I would say is that this really is, there are cases, I should say, where because the court doesn't have constitutional authority, doesn't have any enforcement mechanism, there are arguments where people say, well, just ignore the court, just don't care, it doesn't matter what they're doing. In this case, the cases between the state of Texas and the federal government. And the federal government has the legal backing in the court decision, which now says it can enforce. The one person who does have enforcement power is the federal government. So I saw some like kind of joke tweets
Marshall has made his decision, now let him enforce it. Kind of the Jackson standoff.
So I saw people making jokes like, can we not do World War III and Civil War at the same time? Can we pick one? And it does feel like there's a lot of weird bombast and posturing here coming out of Texas that it is.
Even for ever doing the serpent's bidding, boy. She always gonna do the serpent's bidding and gonna do what it is that is needed and say what it needs to be said to defend the government, because she doing what she was her spirit is that the Lord had gave her spirit to do, meaning be against all things and against the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua himself. So let's I'm gonna finish this out. Let me read this precept here. I'm gonna finish this out here in Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah 50:29. Call together the archers, the missiles, the nuclear missiles, against Babylon, which is America, all ye that bend the bow. Camp against it round about. Let none therefore escape. Recompense her according to her work. And her work is what? Was what? The hammer of the earth. Right? The robbing and the killing and the taking of resources in other lands and lying and saying that someone of a nation done something to it, and in the process of them making up stories and creating a narrative to fit only the narrative that they need to come into your borders. So now we are in the times of everyone is going to come into America's borders. And in the process of everyone coming here, all of the northern kingdom of the children of Israel, because those are the probably 99% of the people that are fleeing, trying to come to America, for the judgment of the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, either for one to be saved or be what, or destroyed. Let none therefore escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she has done. Do unto her, for she has been proud against the Lord Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel. Verse 31. Behold, I am against thee, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. O thou most proud, who more proud than these devils? Saith the Lord God of Israel, of hosts, for thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. Verse 34 of Jeremiah 50:34. The Redeemer is strong, the Lord of hosts, the Lord Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. That's a miracle, man. So on that note, I'm going to say, call Allah Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kakadash. Shalom Israel.